Hello, everybody, and welcome back. What a grueling day. 2025 Columbus OP Cup. We are in round 7. And of course, that is a long day of overpower. Most people playing maybe their most vital game of the day. We have Cory Sims against Jack. Now, of course, on top, you have Cory, who's playing Morgan Le Fay, Spawn, Wicked Witch, and Hawkeye. Definitely looking for a little bit of remove action with Asclepion there as well. Played with Hell's Kitchen. Jack on the bottom, looking for that big brute force build with Hercules, Heroes for Hire, Beast the Brute, and Old or 3-stat Spider Woman. Now it looks like he's pairing it up with Mirror Island, looking for a little Mirror Island magic, but of course, to bring you all the strategic wonderfulness in this round 7, I again am accompanied by Tyler Bertrand here to bring you some great insight. Hello, Tyler.
Hey everybody. Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm not sure what standings are at this point in the tournament to see which if either player's playing for their lives at this point, but I do like the situation because I think Cory's got a really interesting deck. Very similar to a lot of the stuff we're seeing in Modern where we got some shifting and removing. He's taken it a step further by adding Asclepion, and Morgan's ability to remove all permanent hits along with Hawkeye's action leader, I think is going to provide an interesting setup. And then you have a similar type of OPD probably in Hell's Kitchen as well.
Now, in this first round, it looks like no discards for either player there. Now, of course, big cards getting placed on Jack's side, a 9, an 8, and a 7, of course, being used for attack or defense. But of course, Cory getting that early harness the wind on his side as well. That, of course, is going to be very hard for Jack to deal with throughout this game, with Mirror Island not providing many ways to sort of get that off the board.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue. And it's also going to come down to I'm assuming Cory is going to run the switch event. He's going to switch Morgan with Hawkeye. And that's another issue if that event comes up early, because that's really going to mess up the pretty deck configuration that Jack has.
And of course, seeing on Jack's side, I did not even notice the Hercules 9 getting placed as well. So you can actually see a lot of venture points on the side of Jack. He's sitting at 34 points of venture, just visually showing to Cory right there. Now, of course, with Harness the Wind, he's going to be able to maneuver a lot. But 34 points of venture is a lot to have to deal with, even if you're moving it all around.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways to deal with shifting is if you can get cards that are 8 or higher. I mean, there really is no safe place to put those.
Jack understanding his advantage, of course, venturing 2, winning it pretty easily as Cory realizing he does not want to really use that harness the wind too early on, looking for more of a card advantage or advantage as he moves forward. Now, it actually looks like Jack went 3 there. So Cory actually would have been able to draw a card, but elected immediately to run.
I wonder if Jack had a chain primed that he was planning on playing, because I think if I were Cory, I might have taken a turn. Again, depending on who's going first. If Cory went first, I might have tried to discard one of those cards, the Beast 9 or the 8 power card with the Wicked Witch card first, then bailed, maybe taking a hit or two in order to. 2 hits probably not worth it, but 1 hit I'd definitely take in exchange for getting rid of one.
Now, Jack having great cards in that last hand, of course, Beyonder and Nightcrawler potentially being a DZ as well as a big Beyonder.
Yeah.
And of course, here, just working out discards as we move forward. Big war chests moving into the second round. Now, of course, Jack looking across at that Harness the Wind, he does realize he's going to have to deal with it at some point in time. Now, of course, Cory looking across at all those large attacks, of course, being roughly of the same color, realizing that he has a lot of maneuverability with both Hell's Kitchen and Hawkeye, especially if he's playing both the Enforcers card as well as the Hawkeye card, removing all venture and switching reserve.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this one of the issues with some of the new rules where the JW I think has taken a bit of a hit is the fact that shifting is a very, very good counter against the JW because the card itself is only a 3. And when I can move the damage around and potentially remove it later, that's a great answer for it because you're not experiencing the defensive pressure.
As Cory looks across the board, he really truly only sees one alternate icon other than combat and brute force, almost saying in his mind that Harness the Wind is going to be very powerful for him. Now, Jack, of course, with that 3 venture early lead, could potentially try to just push this game real hard, real fast with his big venture that he seems to have placed up. Looks like he's maybe thinking about that exact thought. Now
Wow.
going 3 here,
In
allowing
between.
Cory to draw 1 card. Unique play here because if you were going to go 3, you think you might have just wanted to make this your battle where you go for that final card, but maybe doing the math and realizing he wants to even or give Cory close cards, but not full amount. Let's see how this plays out. It's usually detrimental to leave 1 mission, as we all know that last mission is very hard to get completed.
Yeah, three's a bit of an awkward venture just because it doesn't win you the game yet, and at the same time, you can still venture 2 without giving him the free card to win next hand if you need to anyway.
Tyler's usual recommendation of taking the 3JW in full effect here by Cory, blocking the follow up 8 brute force with his own energy 8, as of course, Jack decided to attack Spawn with that 3-8 combo.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know who the correct target would be on his team to attack, but I
Black
don't think it
bees,
matters.
birds, and crows coming across as a multi 8 from the witch. Blocked, of course, by that rescue mission by Spider Woman. Volleying back with a big 9, of course, seeing that Spawn 1 to 9, knowing it's probably just going to get eaten in that respect.
I'm curious why he played it that soon.
Well, especially with that Hercules 4 sitting in his
He has a
hand,
lot of
that
other
might have been
options.
a very, very potent card to throw instead of that 9.
I mean, the 4 could be a devastating hit. Maybe he is thinking the 4 is a better hit than the 9, and he's going to use the 1 to draw out the other. But I'm just, yeah, I
But
don't.
when you're venturing 3, I imagine you're looking not for long play, but for winning this battle. Now, Jack venturing 3 here really must win this battle, for if 3 go down and 2 is defeated, it'll be hard, almost dare I say, a close power pack game that he might have to push to just to win it if he does lose this battle.
Now, keep in mind, Jack does have a Captain Britain in his hand, and if he is running the KL for Captain Britain, which is the little Iceman type card, that could actually be a great counter to harness the wind if Cory decides to play it.
Now, here's that Hercules 4 coming across from Jack. If successful, target character may not make any follow up attacks for the remainder of the game.
One thing I am noticing Jack do that I would recommend players don't do is take their cards and turn them where they're 90 degrees towards their opponent, especially with the side facing up being halfway there, because there is a lot of ways where some weird interaction the opponent could see it.
Cory slides a little Snake Marston in there, says, no, 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 sir. That 4 energy will not be coming across anytime soon. Big use of a Hades / Beyonder on Cory's side there, though. Let's see what he pushes back with. He does have a teamwork with full support. He may just elect to run at this point in time. However, leaving Jack with only 1 remaining might not be the greatest way. I think Cory really feeling he might have to win this battle, but of course, not using Harness the Wind yet, saving it for late to mid game.
Yeah, I think if I were Jack at this point, I would look at the Irish for a white tiger. And it's getting late enough in the hand to where I'd force the Harness the Wind to defend it. Otherwise, you force them to discard 2 cards.
6 energy coming over from Hawkeye, way from the back there. Of course, great hit on Heroes for Hire if it should penetrate through.
I think that's the right play.
Using definitely multiples of those Hercules 7s in his deck, getting good use out of it right away. Throwing his other big 9, I guess assuming Cory's 1 card in his hand could not defend it. Of course, Cory pulling out the AG Avoid from Electra.
And I can't tell what that
A
card
Wicked
is.
Witch 7.
Oh, it's the 7. Okay.
So getting a lot of the Wicked Witch cards off early in this game, getting a lot of the big cards. Now, playing a Captain.
Oh, so is he playing this defensively? Or no, so he's probably taking it. Can you KO that card away? Does it say, I'm going to have to double check the wording on that. But if that card does have the words.
As we see Jack starting to read it, he is rifling through, he's trying to determine whether or not the card says for remainder of battle or for remainder of game, because he would actually get to play this Captain Britain card, which would remove Snake Marsden and potentially that card, but I don't believe it says it. So he's just getting Snake Marsden out of there with that Captain Britain card. Now, of course, should Harness the Wind have been in play, it also would have been discarded if it was in play.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So now that's not defensive, but if he's playing that on his turn,
Just a mistake on what he pulled out of his battle sight. He was looking for the KO, which he just passed in his sight there, just right after that.
okay.
Perfect. And of course, that's the play we mentioned. Now, a lot of KO pressure here on Heroes for Hire. Does Jack continue to push after he has to defend this last attack? Now, eyeing this card, he might just take it. He decides to negate the 7 offensively on his turn, thus giving back Cory the volley. Cory just showing a teamwork, a remove, and Harness the Wind. Nothing of venture unless that teamwork is playable on his side, which I believe he has no more cards in hand. Pointing to his Marvel Universe +1 on his side. Cory debating now whether or not he's going to continue to stick this battle out. Currently, Jack not winning the venture. Jack at 4 points.
Did they actually get rid
To
of the
11.
card for the KL or no? They did? Okay, so this one is a bit more interesting.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't? Okay, I think that's the correct rule then, because it doesn't explicitly have the text in quotes, and I believe that is the rule with the KL. It does say that they would stay in reserve for one more battle. That's not the same as saying for remainder of that battle.
Correct. It has to have the exact wording on it. So they did play that absolutely correct. And Jack really was trying to find those words on that Wicked Witch card. He read it several times. Now, here we're moving on. Of course, as we continue on, just a single card in the war chest of Jack, and looking across the board, he is seeing a teamwork, Harness the Wind, and a remove, which would work towards that spawn hit. And of course, activate Asclepion this round.
Could be a big event.
No energy power cards coming out, can be used at all, whether attack or defense. That's a big card. Now, of course, Cory playing an energy-based deck, this might actually be a big swing moment. And of course, knowing Jack just has one more venture to get to the completed, can he finish this game? Cory reeling on his back heels, but still with everything present, he is still up 1 card in this round and seeing the Harness the Wind, as well as that remove from Morgan, activating his Asclepion. He's essentially even. And of course, looking across the board at just a 1 intelligence, not a very intimidating card. However, of course, if Cory did draw any of those energy power cards, he would actually have to place it or discard it at the moment.
No, you would have to discard it because it's the effect of the event. But what's interesting is he did discard a 7 energy power card as a duplicate, which could mean he kept the any power 7, which would be playable in this point.
And of course, Jack seeing both an 8 and a 3 over there. I think at this point, it looks like Jack might be swinging very heavy at this game. You're seeing a Heroes for Hire 11 teamwork with follow-up. Professor X, which can block at least a special coming back his way. It's going to be quite interesting to see if Cory can manipulate the venture in this game to pull himself back in it. Big combat.
I think he
teamwork
made up
coming
all the
out.
cards with his events. So and the shift card itself doesn't contribute any venture on its own. I mean, it could cause KO pressure, but at this point, if he can just afford to withstand it and know he's enough ahead in numbers, it's not going to matter.
Big combat teamwork coming from, as he pointed, Hercules.
Now, that if that Morgan card is the remove, which I believe it is, he could remove the 3 to draw a card.
Following
So
up there with a 7 brute force, which acts as an 8. And then following up with what would be an intelligence attack.
I did not play the 1.
And actually, I will say right now, oh no, because there, and then there. Yeah. Okay, so an intelligence attack, which is a 6. Now, finally using that Harness the Wind, Jack has realized He's not going to be able to apply too much KO pressure, but all you have to do is win the venture, Jack, and you win this game.
And there's really no safe place to put an 11. And, is that the discard a place card and draw card? Oh, that's a nasty
So
card.
as you can see, that is an opponent-based card and actually would not be able to be defended with the Professor X Avoid a Special in his hand. However, he could negate it, which is a smart move because, of course, Cory would get to draw and keep a duplicate if he allows this to occur.
Yeah. And he'd be drawing another card if he plays the Morgan card. So you really need to nip this in the bud and stop him from drawing now ASAP. And that one is actually a very important card this battle.
And of course, looking across the board, you must realize, Jack, that there isn't much that he's going to be able to push at you venture wise. This actually might be the biggest card he has that will potentially sway your whole entire hand.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he does have that Asclepion remove card, which again, though, would have to be played on his turn. And
okay, he did the correct thing.
Great play, negating that big card coming from Cory's side. It'll be interesting to see if Cory can somehow pull this round out.
Yeah, this is his options are closing quickly.
And there we go. 4 assists for the kill.
That's
Cory able to maneuver things around.
Now, I would have played the one. He just shut himself out of his ally.
Interesting play here. Now, playing the big 11 from Heroes for Hire, if Cory does take that, Heroes for Hire may not attack for remainder of battle. He has removed the 3, as we mentioned. Drawing with Asclepion, he may attack now from Morgan, should he wish it.
Yeah, I think that was a fairly big tactical error on Cory's part, or sorry, on Jack's part. I mean, I think that he should have played the 1, then threaten Morgan with a second color before playing the 11. Then this 3 is unshiftable. He has to put that on Spawn in order to prevent him from being KO'd. The 11 would probably still go to Morgan, but he'd have a second color on Spawn and play his ally.
And as you can see, by playing that 11 after that 4, he actually made the own ally in his hand unplayable for this round. Now, if you're venturing for the win, every moment of venture counts.
Oh, that was action leader? Devastating. That was a whopping venture swing.
Removing all the venture. Now, of course, all he would need is a new Warriors to completely flip the script here.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, Jack is still ahead by, it looks like 16 points or 15 points at this stage. So I don't know how many cards Cory has left in his hand, but
I'm a little unsure why he just took that 1 intellect and put it in his own dead pile.
Did he not play it?
No. So he takes the 1 intellect off Beast the Brute and puts it in his power pack, and then plays the Professor X4.
And what was used defensively there? Morgan negate.
Morgan negate. Oh, he does have the fuel.
Oh,
probably that prediction of that 7.
There it is. That's a huge 7.
And that, of course, getting close to swinging the game. As you said, you're looking at 15, 16.
He could lose this by the allies worth of points, too. That's really rough.
16 to 14. And he does not have an action. He must pass. And that's the 18.
Wow. I mean, he would have still had 19 points if he was able to play the ally.
And should he have played that lightly different, he would have been able to get the ally off with the Heroes for Hire 11.
And the 1 even could contribute. I don't know what happened to the 1, but we'll figure that out at some point. Did Cory defend that with the 6? The 6 power card? Maybe he did. I see a 6 any power in his power pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's going on if they're sorting out.
I think he was just trying to anticipate what was happening now.
Oh, and he had no Mega Red. So he did have it. Cory did have the venture.
Cory did have additional cards too.
And the 5 would have, he either has the 7 or the 5, but I think both would have been enough. regardless of how
Wow,
it's
big
played.
event there for Jack. I think that might have been an opportunity to end this game. But of course, Cory pushing relentlessly, saying, I am not done yet.
That action leader was huge, and I think he did everything he could to set that up properly to make sure that he wasn't able to negate it.
Of course, he did have the negate early on in his hand. As you saw, he did use it earlier in the round.
Yep. And oof, I see a Spider Woman 7, which is great. That's awesome to see her come up with a playable OPD, which you don't see very often. But I do see 2 heroes cards discarded. But
And of
that's
course, we
great.
are going to find out very shortly what his one per deck is out of Mirror Island. A lot of great options in there. It could be very much a Shadow Cat draw 3. Now, only going one down to the bottom. Jack still has opportunity here several times to venture for the win here with only 2 to 3 over the next couple of rounds.
I don't believe he's got a lot of heroes for hire cards left after discarding those 2. We've seen a JW.
Of course, with the stat backed up as well, we haven't seen too many Heroes for Hire cards come out as of the moment, as Tyler was just mentioning. But as you can see, Cory holding now this wonderful war chest of power cards that he wasn't able to use last round, but are becoming absolutely monster looking cards across the table right now to Jack.
Yeah, I think he might have 1 heroes for hire card left. We saw 1 JW, 1 11. We saw 2 discards now. He might have 1 to 2 at the most.
Ally coming from Wicked Witch, you're anticipating probably the 2-8 or the 7 following up afterwards, playing the 7 smartly at Spider Woman. Now looking, of course, not to let her activate one of her 1 to 9s. Very good Professor X card. Professor X being the only person to actually have that card. No special cards may be played against Professor X for the remainder of battle. So Spider-Man will be protected from power or from special cards for the rest of this battle, thus activating a 1 to 9 should he have had it.
Yeah.
And is this the big moment? We do see the Shadow Cat.
There it is.
Draw 3.
It feels a bit early for this, but so we'll see what happens if he. I think Cory is out of a lot of his negates anyway, because he already played the Morgan one, and I think he played the one off his.
Cory has allowed it. There's that wonderful 1 to 9 avoid that we mentioned.
Wow, what a draw. That was a huge draw 3.
Gaining a Captain Britain as well, which would be a special defense should he be able to get it out in the next thought. This should be a very quick avoid with either one of those power cards or the 1 to 9.
I would probably play the Banff if I don't have a Trick Transport in there.
But of course, even a Trick Transport DZ going across the table would be quite a big card.
Yeah, I think that's what if he has that in his battle set, I would play that on spawn and try to KO Wicked Witch, leaving him with Hawkeye to win the game. And that 7 multi is a very good kill shot on Wicked Witch when the 8 is placed to spawn.
Very great strategy thoughts. Of course, moving the card around, saying, I take it, I don't take it, I take it, I don't take it. What's the worst thing to do if I do take this? Now, of course, Jack thinking, I am venturing for the win here. All I have to do is win this round. Can he pull it out is the question.
The reason I like even taking that card to some degree is because there's nothing in his hand that is almost lower than the 2 cards combined other than the 4. And if the 4 turns off a teamwork on top of it, then it's already going to be worth more than that.
Jack looking to take those low hits, keeping Venture on his side very low. Now electing right here to play that Captain Britain card we just mentioned, blocking a special that would crumb across the board at his team. Of course, seeing a 2-8 on the other side, knowing he's at least going to get to use it this round if he can. Now, with that being said, though, he is lacking on the Venture department. He is down right now, 6-5 against Cory. Cory looking to come back in this game and pull out a monster come from behind victory.
We have another ally.
Ally coming from Cory's side.
This I would probably play the Banff on if that's the case, because I'm not sure you're going to have the time to play the Trick Transport anymore. Maybe if he's got a special card follow-up. Actually, I think that would be okay. I think taking that is the correct way.
Keeping all the low Venture, blocking what he needs to block. Of course, only 3 3s coming across so far for Cory. Does he have enough to push back at his opponent? big 7 multi, which I know Cory was definitely not expecting in this round.
Definitely not.
Of
And
course, having the
yeah,
7 to defend right there is a big, big moment as well.
but he still has a 7 power card in hand, so, oh, this is gonna be rough.
Here's the enforcers.
Yeah.
It looks like they are going to remove all of those hits and switch with Morgan. He will then activate a Skelepion for 1 card draw off the top.
Now, the benefit though here is this is prime for the prime setup for that trick transport. If that's in his battle site, he needs to play that immediately to spawn or even to Morgan. Like I just think that that's crucial. What? Why is he? Oh, he's making the attack now. But oh yeah, I guess Morgan could play that card
From reserve,
Yeah.
and then was still allowed to make the attack after a Skelepion.
Okay, so he's playing Banff now.
So now interesting that he plays that Banff. We did not see whether or not he had that trick transport, but it might have actually been more pivotal to play the trick transport as opposed to the Banff for just initial quick attack. You did
Yeah.
have the 1 to 9 still in your hand.
It's a 5-point venture swing. I think that would have made a big difference. Oh no, no, and he revealed the card. Oh, oh no, that's a tough one. That's a heartbreaking play there. That's just a simple mistake where he was expecting you could this is again why he should have played the trick transport. The power card was able to be played on Spider Woman, whereas the special cards weren't, and I think he missed that. He assumed like the character was locked out. Again, this is something that just happens through inexperience or just not playing a deck enough where you see a card on a character, you assume it's protecting them from everything, and it's not.
So there were several times he could have used the 1 to 9 avoid. Several times throughout that round, he decided not to, and now has to attempt to catch up with Venture, having an avoid in his hand that is not going to be playable.
Yeah.
Sometimes waiting too long to use your defense, and then, of course, revealing it to your opponent can never be a good thing. And of course, we see a Cheshire Cat coming across. This is an aspect card. It is not a special, so he is able to just continuously penetrate that Professor X shield.
Yeah, I think this is one of those spots where he can't even defend her with a power card, so there's no way for him to force a special, and I think it's going to be a pretty slim chance that Corey's going to have a numerical special left that he can play it against.
And a very unique game here, especially because as you can see, Jack going for the win in the last 2 rounds has really stuck in and sacrificed a lot to try to pull this game out in the last 2 rounds. Of course, losing the 1 venture and now venturing 2 for the win. He's had to both times push everything he had, but at this point, being down to just Hercules and Spider Woman, with the final shot being at Spider Woman, he cannot defend. Looks like he's about to be down to Hercules by himself.
Wow, and venture wise, that's a heartbreaker because that 1 to 9, if it had got a card that was, I think, worth 5 points, he would have won the game.
And of course, on Cory's side of the board, able to remove a lot of that KO pressure off his characters with those 2 big 1 per decks.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I think the difference would have been if he has trick transport under the site, that would have earned him 5 extra points if he played that versus the 8. I think we know why now. He missed the fact that the 8 could be played against Spider Woman. And then playing that 9 or less avoid, even against one of those allies, would have been, I think, enough. That 8-point swing would have been enough to win him the game there.
I think the game may have just slipped through Jack's fingers there, potentially having several ways that he could have maybe made that happen for himself. But of course, playing against a very skilled veteran like Cory Sims, who, of course, has made 2 top 8s in the regionals this year, is not someone who is willing to give up a game easily. And as you can see, is pushing himself. Now, that is Race Against Crime. That is Switch Reserve with the front line. Of course, not having any cards that need that action to happen right now.
Isn't that one the no intellect?
I think I was incorrect there. That is no intellect power cards may actually be played this round.
Actually catches another card of Jack's as well. He's got a 4 intellect power card in hand, which is pretty rough considering he duped or discarded 4.
Down to 4, of course, just with Hercules having to discard every card that isn't a Hercules card. And of course, though it is a great 1 per deck when the time arises, I can see right now him holding Select the Slain, not exactly the card you want in your hand when the game is slipping away.
Yeah.
Perfect card should it have come during the moment of Harness the Wind.
Yeah.
Cory, being the experienced player he is, sniffing that blood in the water, pulling this game out.
And even the Colossus is rough because that could be a +1 under normal circumstances, but not with one character left.
Now, of course, a really unique play he could pull off here is the Colossus AX. If he can somehow manipulate that into a great moment near the end of the round. However, with Cory going for the win, Jack will not be able to concede here, and he will have to play this whole hand out.
Yeah, and if both those teamworks are playable, the chance of him defending everything is very slim. And not with that setup. Like, something's going to get through.
Spider-Man punching Hercules in the face here. Coming across the board. Wondering if he can use that intelligence power card to defend. You may not use it at all.
Now, he could have the Colossus 7.
Now, understand here, Jack, everything you must do must be to win this venture and not lose Hercules. Quite a tall task.
I think the correct thing, I think he should have ventured for the win, because I think then he doesn't have the pressure of having to keep Hercules alive either. He just has to win one. He just has to do the one job of winning venture.
Very interesting observation.
The 2 cards are meaning less because at this point, you're going to have to pull off a miracle anyway.
And of course, as we see jockeying back and forth. Huh?
I don't know what. Is he
avoid a universe? Oh, remove?
Oh, yeah, but that's not for current battle.
Oh, it's only for permanent. I think Cory's going to take a quick look here and realize that it's not that card that will be removed. Showing it to a judge, I'm assuming off camera, stating you can choose.
Is that his only Colossus card left? Next to the AX, maybe? It's a curious choice with just with no Asclepion, but like, I mean, he doesn't have to play the card now if that's not playable. He doesn't have to discard the Colossus, but if that's his last card for him.
Kingpin Rose coming out, 5 combat across the board from Cory, allowed to make 1 additional special card attack. And of course, Cory, with almost his whole team still remaining.
I think this game is over. I think this is just a matter of going through the motions.
Now, of course, you could sway yourself back several times in this game because you can think to yourself, could he have pulled off that last venture, Jack, when you went 3 instead of 4 for the win? What an interesting moment you will revisit in your head and revisit this game several times.
Now, if that Daredevil isn't playable, all right, he must have a 9 or less, but if that 4 was playable, he might have actually pulled this off with 1 point. If that 4 gets through, it would have been 6-5, but he does have a 9 or less for Daredevil to stop it. But I don't think he had any offense for Daredevil to throw.
And a great game by both opponents. As you can see, wonderful game. Definitely, Jack was holding it all the way down, but an experienced vet like Cory stayed calm, stayed relaxed, worked himself out of his hole, and found his win condition. Great tournament, both of you gentlemen. And of course, maybe not, we will see you in the top 8. Thank you for joining me, Tyler, in this round 7. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that was a good game. Another interesting deck. Cory weathered the storm, and I think Jack just ran out of gas and ran out of characters at that point. But I think both players played well, and I liked both decks. So
we will see you very shortly in the top 8. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.